Welcome everyone to the Lo-Fi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host, Michael Pickering, and that's right, Lo-Fi, as in low fidelity, low quality, in your face, messy as can be global news show. Here we're going to talk about that famous question, what's going on in the world today? We'll be covering 5 headlines from across the globe, and to choose one to go into a more detailed analysis. The news, fresh off the press. Source, AP News International. Netanyahu rival becomes parliament speaker, signaling deal. In the past year, Israelis have had 3 federal elections for their parliament, with no party being able to have a straight majority, nor able to make a coalition government. Israelis have had to go back to the polls each time. Now the Prime Minister's chief opposition is the Speaker of Parliament. The implications. Netanyahu was recently indicted for political corruption charges. Having his main opposition as the Speaker of Parliament may be a signal of trouble to come. Next up, source, BBC News, World, subsection, Europe. Jamal Khashoggi. Turkey charges 20 Saudis over journalist murder. Lo-Fi Poli Sci students may remember the 2018 murder of U.S. resident and journalist, Saudi Arabian national, Jamal Khashoggi, in the Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey. Saudi Arabia originally denied wrongdoing, then later changed their story multiple times, until resting on the story that it was a rogue agent of the Saudi government. The implications. This is an incredibly important story for journalists and free people around the world, though sadly was forgotten by many. Will we see justice for the murder of Jamal Khashoggi finally? Write in and let me know. Our following story, source, AP News International. Estonia won its war on fentanyl. Then things got worse. While much of the world is focused on one thing at the moment, we here at Lo-Fi Poli Sci like to remind our listeners the world is still turning, much as it always has been. By 2017, Estonian police raided most of the large suppliers of fentanyl in the country, ridding the state of a horrible drug epidemic. However, authorities have observed that many users and suppliers have simply moved on to using and making other synthetic drugs in its place. The implications. All countries in the world deal with addiction issues, be it illicit drugs, legal drugs, or even alcohol. It always appears the moment government officials make progress in stopping one form of drugs, 2 more pop up. Stopping the flow of horrible drugs across the globe is important, but so too is helping those addicted. Treating both issues at the same time may be the way of the future. And now for our headline in the spotlight segment. Source, BBC News, World. Nicolas Maduro, U.S. charges Venezuelan president with narco-terrorism. President Maduro and 14 other senior-level officials, including the defense minister and Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, have all been indicted. The U.S. Attorney General stated that a $15 million reward is being offered for information leading to Maduro's arrest. The background and implications of this story. President Maduro was elected to a second term in office in 2018 in an election that was considered greatly flawed, with voter turnout less than 50%. The exact figures are widely disputed, between 25.8% and 46.07% by the Venezuelan organization Democratic Unity Roundtable and the government institution the National Electoral Council, respectively. In January of 2019, the president of the National Assembly, Juan Guaido, declared himself acting president under Venezuelan constitutional law, citing that the president was not the legitimate leader of the country. This started a domestic and international political crisis, as different groups in the country's society and different countries across the globe backed different presidents. The U.S. declared that it believed Guaido to be the legitimate president over Maduro. That being said, the military in the country stayed loyal to Maduro, and Guaido has not, in over a year's time, been able to force Maduro from power. With this new development, one has to wonder if the tables may turn in Guaido's favor, or if Maduro will press on to remain in power. The question for students of Lo-Fi Poli Sci: do we think this will end Maduro's regime? Has other countries' presidents ever been indicted by foreign powers? What will be Maduro and the world's response to this new action by the U.S.? Write in and let me know your thoughts. And a last piece of news from the BBC, Science. Neanderthals ate sharks and dolphins. That's right, folks. You know we here at Lo-Fi like more than just political science. We like science. Previously, scientists believed that only Homo sapiens had collected food from rivers and oceans. This evidence found in Portuguese caves indicates that our cousin, Neanderthals, were also doing so between 106,000 to 86,000 years ago. The implications. Although we like to think of ourselves as so different from the rest of the world, this helps remind us we are part of the world. We are more similar to others than we are different. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Let me say thank you for listening. Stay safe, wash those hands, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. Pickering, signing off.